let's start. What are relationships in Power BI? So relationships are usually created in an online transactional processing database, means OLTP, where you have the transactional data, okay, or maybe from any relational database. So when you have relationships, when you create the relationship, so basically the main purpose of creating the relationship is to use the tables, use the columns in visualization or maybe in writing the DAX queries, okay, and it also helps you to reduce the redundant data, to reduce the repeated data, okay. Let's see a scenario where you do not use the relationship. So what we do using the query editor, right, we have an option merge query. So using merge query, what we are doing basically, we are pulling the data from other tables in one table, right? Based on like product ID, what we did, based on product ID column, we extracted the product name in our order details table, right? So what we did here, we just increased the size of the data model, okay, of that table. And another thing is like we have created product name column in that order details table. It means that is a redundant data. Why redundant data? Because this information we already have in the products table. Why we are extracting this in our order details table? Because if you want to use that product name, then we can build a relationship, okay, and after building the relationship we can extract that without pulling that column in the table, okay. So let's say you have 10 columns here in your file, okay, in any Power BI desktop file. We just load the data. As of now, I'm just loading the data of this orders table, and let me load this people table also, okay. I load it into the transform window in query editor first. Here I'll see a basic transformation that I need to promote this first row as a header. Yep, it's done. Now here you can see I have person and region, right? Here also I have the region column, right? Now for example, if I want to see like who is the responsible person for this region, for central US, right? So what I can do, that information, although I have here for central US, I have this Lon Bonner, right? So this is the responsible person for this region. So this information already I have in this table, okay. If I want to pull this information in the orders table, then how I can do that? I can merge the query, right? Let's try to do that. So here what I'm doing, I'm just going to extract region person from the people table, right? And here I make a relationship between region to region column, right? Now I can click OK. Now from here I can extract the person name, right? So here I got Lon Bonner, right? And it is, if I move it to the region column, then we'll see it more clearly. So you can see for central US, Lon Bonner is responsible person, right? Now when you see that I extracted this column here, right? While without using it, when I extract this column here, it means what I did, I created a redundant data here. Why redundant? Because this region and person data I already have here, right? And I have a valid relation, a valid join between these two tables also, right? So without pulling this column in orders table, if I want to use, then I can easily achieve it using the relationships, right? So that's why it has been said here, like as a part of normalization to primarily eliminate the redundancy, right? So you may say like, then why we need this merge query? Because if we can achieve it using the relationships, then why we create the merge queries here? This is because sometimes you may require this merge query or this extracted column in another table for your further data modeling or further relationship purpose, okay. So in some scenarios you can use the merge queries, but where you want to just use your columns for visualization purpose, for writing the DAX only, then instead of merging the columns, it's not like you have 5 dimension tables and 1 fact tables and you pull everything, you pull all the data from different tables into a one table, right? Like you pull customer name from the customer table, product name from the product table, and territory name or like category name, everything you pull in your order details table, and then you have everything in your one table. Now you can visualize it and everything using this table, okay. So this is not a good practice, because this will work only when you have a small data set and you are not working on unstructured data where you may have this data from like multiple sources, right? So in this scenario, it may work, right? But the best practice is like if you have 5 dimensions and one fact table, then build the relationship with all your all your dimension tables and then use the columns, then extract the columns, right? Because let's say here I have in this region column, let's say I have 1 million records, right? And I extracted the person also, then it means I extracted another 1 million records here, right? So what is it? It increased the size of my orders table. It means overall, it increased the size of my data model, right? So this is a redundant data. When you are working on like 1,000, 10,000 or 1 lakh records, then you won't see the difference. But when you will work on the large databases or large data sets, then you will see a difference. Okay. So instead of using it here, what we will do, we will make the relationship between these two tables. Okay. And then we can easily extract the person name after building the relationship between region column. Got it? Now let's load this data. Now we have this. Now what I do, I just create a relationship between region, right? Relationship has been created. Now I can access this person column from here. So what I did, I didn't create it. I didn't increase the size of my data model. Here what we did using this relationship, we removed the unnecessary data, right? So what we did, we eliminated the data redundancy, right? So this is the main purpose of creating relationship or having the relationship in your data model. But it doesn't mean like you should not use the merge query operation. No, you may use that in some scenarios where you use that, where you want to use that column for any further data transformation, for reference in any column, right? Or based on that, if you want to extract some information from any other table, then in such scenarios, you can use that merge query. Okay. So this was just basic things of relationships. So relationships you can see in your Power BI desktop. You have 3 views: report view, data view, and relationship view or model view. So from the model view, you can manage and build your relationships. Okay. You have 2 ways. Either one is auto detect, right? And second is manually. 4 type of cardinalities we have. Although here you can see 3 because at the time when slides were prepared, at the time only 3 relationships cardinalities were there, right? So many to many is also part of this cardinality now. We saw cross filter directions, both and single, right? Single helps us to filter the data in only one way, in only one direction. If you want to filter the data in both direction, let's say from your fact table to dimension table and dimension table to fact table, in both direction, if you want to filter the data, then you have to select both under the cross filter direction option. All right. Okay, so that was just a quick overview of relationships. All right, so now let's understand the DAX. So DAX, we have, I have already given a quick overview of the DAX, but now we are going to understand it in more detail. DAX stands for data analysis expressions, right? It's a formula language and it's same as you use into the Excel, right? Around like 60-70%, it's mostly same. There are some functions which you can see in Excel, but they do not, those functions you won't see into the Power BI, and vice versa. Like some functions you will have in Power BI, but you won't see them into the Excel. Okay. In DAX, we have around like hundreds of functions. You can see here 200 functions, but it's having more than 200 functions, constants, and operators, right? So DAX itself is a ocean. Okay. So we are not going to learn all of those 200 or 500 functions, right? So we'll see the most commonly used functions, right? And how DAX works, how you can achieve your requirement or how you can achieve your columns or calculations for your visualization for your reports development purpose. Okay. Here you can see the syntax of DAX. For example, if you want to write a expression, if you want to write a expression to calculate the total sales, then you will first have to provide the name of that column, name of that measure, or name of that table. Okay, 3 things you can create using the DAX. What 3 things? First, you can create a calculated column, you can create a measure, you can create a calculated table, right? So 3 things you can create using the DAX. Okay, so when you want to create any column, any measure, then you have to first define its name, then is equal to, then you may have to, you can use this function based on a requirement. Let's say I want to calculate the sum of the sales, right? So and sales exists in my line total column. So this You can see inside the brackets, this is your column, and before that you see that is your table name. So here you can see internet sales is my table name, and line total is the column of internet sales table, right? And I'm going to sum up it, right? I'm going to sum up the value of this line total, right? So this is very similar to the Excel. Then when we move to the function side, so in DAX we have lots of functions, right? Some functions may require one argument, some functions may require more than one argument to pass, right? In functions, there are some some defined rules, like for example, if there's any function, then first you have to pass the table for that, so that that function will take a table inside the memory, and after that it will operate, it will like execute all your the rest of the expression on that table which this function already holds, right? So this is like behind the scene how these functions works basically. Okay, you won't see some anywhere in like how the data is stored in the function, no. Okay, but some function requires the table first. Okay, once you provide the table, then they hold that table data inside the memory, and after that, once whatever the expression you write, that expression will be executed on that table which is stored in the function. DAX functions have been categorized in these different categories, right? Like you can see here, date and time functions, time intelligence functions, filter functions, information functions, logical, math and trigonometry functions, other functions, parent and child, statistical, and text functions, right? So generally we use the functions, the most commonly used functions we have here. We use date and time, time intelligence functions, filter functions, information functions, logical, and text functions, right? So these are the like most commonly used functions which we use in our day-to-day reports development. All right, how are the DAX functions different? DAX functions reference an entire column or a table, right? As I told you, that some DAX functions require the table, or some requires a entire column. Let's say a sum function, right? Sum function requires a column only. Okay, but let's say if you want to filter any data, you want to use the filter function, then that filter function requires the table. Okay, so it means like in function you have to pass some parameters in form of like a column or a table. All right, next, if you want to customize a calculation to work on row by row basis, use functions. Then you can use those functions which executes the calculation in row context. What are the row context and filter context? That we'll see in the next coming slides. Most of the functions returns the data, right? That data could be a singular, a scalar value, means a single value, or a tabular data. Time intelligence functions can be defined to calculate your values based on the time travel. Like you want to calculate, you want to do such kind of comparison like YTD sales and last year YTD sales, right? Something like this, like total MTD, right? For the current month sales till today, and last year month total MTD, right? For example, today is like 12th of May. So today is like you want to compare something like 1st May to 12th May 2020 sales, and 1st May to 12th May 2019, last year same month sales, right? So if you want to compare such kind of values, then you can use time intelligence functions. Okay, next we goes to the context. So context is very like a basic concept to understand that how these DAX function works. Basically, DAX function works on two contexts, right? They work on the row context or the filter context. Some functions works on both, like on the row context also and filter context also. So what is it? Let's try to understand it. Row context basically look for the current row only. Okay, and these such kind of functions basically we use into the measures. What are the measures? Measures are nothing, just a calculation, right? What are filter context? In addition to the row context, when you want to filter the data also, like along with, for example, like you want to sum of a column, you want to sum of the total sales. Okay, so you have done this summation of this line total column, right? And now you have the total sales value. But this what was that? That was a row context. Now what you want something like total sales, calculate the total sales summation of the line total column, but only for US and UK countries. So here what you are additionally what you are adding, you are adding the filters, you are adding a condition, right? So now addition to the row context, filter context is something like where you want to calculate any specific value based on the defined filters. Okay, so that is very simple difference. Like row context is something like you are just calculating a sum of any specific column or average of a specific column, and filter context works along with the row context, means calculate the average sales but do not include like for this region or for this country, something like this, where you want to pass the filter also. Such kind of filters, such kind of like filter context DAX expressions can be used especially in the visualizations. Okay, all right, now let's just have a quick look onto the Power BI desktop now. So we have currently 2 tables here. Okay, so as I have already told you, like we can create only 3 things using the DAX, right? What these 3 things? So one is, just go here into the modeling tab, right? Here you can see 3 things: new measure, new column, and a new table. All right, so these 3 things basically you can create using the DAX. Now what is the difference, how we can use them? Let me just pull some data here. So already we have created a relationship between them, right? Now best practice is like when you want to work with the DAX functions or you want to write the expressions, then you must be into the data window, into this data tab, right? Because when you will be in this tab, you will be able to see your data model. Okay, and wherever you like, if you created any column, then you can see that column at the end of your table. Okay, so now here first what I'm going to see that I have these columns here: sales, quantity, discount, profit. Okay, so first let me I'm just for demonstration purpose, I'm changing the name of this column. Okay, so I just renamed it. This is, let's say, unit price. All right, unit price, quantity, and discount. All right, fine. Here I have one test column. Let me just delete that. Okay, so now what I want to calculate the total profit, right? You can see here profit column I have, right? Profit column I have, but I want to do the summation of this profit column, right? Because maybe that calculated value, that total profit value may be required for further calculation or in any other expression. So what I can do, I can create a measure here, right? Now you may say like, why we create a measure only, why we cannot create the column, right? Because if let's try to create a column and let's see that what happens. So I create a new column. This is your total profit sum, right? And here you pass your profit column. Press enter. Now you see there that their total profit is like 1467457.29, right? But this is appearing for all the rows, right? Because why it is appearing like this? Because this is a row context. What it did, it just calculated the sum of all those records, and after that it populated the same for all the records, right? So it means if you create a column like for such kind of calculation, that is not a good approach. Okay, then what you can do, you have to create a measure for it. Because what we learned, when you want to do such kind of mathematical calculations, or when you want to create such functions which works onto in the row context, then you have to create preferably you have to create the measures. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll just copy paste the same expression into the measure. I think I haven't copied that properly. Let me just copy it again. You can write also, create new measure. Why my copy paste is not working? All right, when I press enter, so you see here that the same column is already exists here. It means you cannot have the same column of your measures and your tables. Okay, so here in bracket I can just mention that this is my measure, right? M. When you create a measure, right, when I create this measure, you see it appears here, right? And this measure value you cannot see here in a table. Why? Because measures are not the physical part of your table. When you create the measures, those measures these measures you cannot see here into the table in a tabular format. Why? Because this is a calculated value, and when you will visualize this data, that will be automatically calculated on the fly and will be visualized here. So let's visualize these two information here. Add the measure here on this card visual. You can see this is the total profit, or when I just calculate it and when I just put it another column here, like this one, total profit column, I am going to add it here. Right now you see that it is showing me the wrong data. Why? Because what it is doing, it is just doing the sum of all the values which we have into the column. So like in order, like sometimes if you have such kind of data and you want to handle that, ideally it's not recommended, right, to create your column. But in case if you are getting such kind of values from the source only, then what you can do, here you have some aggregation settings, right, on the visualization level. Then just right click on the fields, right, and here you can see, right, for example, if I want just pick maximum value, right, so then you will get the same output here, right. So here you have these aggregation settings, right, different aggregation functions. You can use them in case sometimes like when you are getting the data in this format from your source, although you are not creating, but you are getting from the source. Okay, so now in this column, in this visual, data is coming from your column, and in this one, data is coming from your measure. Measures you cannot see in your table, right, column you can see in your table. All right, so creating a column in this situation is not recommended. And when you load this data in query editor, this column will not be appeared there in the orders table. When I loaded this data in query editor, you cannot see that column here. Why? Because whatever you create using the DAX, that you can't see into the query editor. This is a limitation with DAX. Okay. All right. Okay. DAX is from table only. Table only, you mean like you can use all these columns which you have in your table here in this data model, right? So you can use all these columns with your functions, with the DAX functions. DAX is not only for creating the table. You can create columns also, you can create measures also, and you can write expressions in the row level security also. DAX should be performed on Power BI Desktop, not query editor. Yes, DAX you cannot access in query editor, nor you cannot write the DAX functions in the query editor, right? So DAX is just supported only in Power BI Desktop. It's not supported in query editor. Okay. All right. Now let's move further. So here we just created a calculation here, right? So you can see here this was the sum function, right? Now let's say you want to calculate something. You have a unit price column here and you have a quantity column, right? But I do not have any sales column. So what you can do, basically I want a sales column here, right? So what you will recommend here, how I can get the sales column? Just a basic question. I want a total sales. I want to see the total sales here. How I can get that? Yes, exactly. You're right, Ali. So what we need to do, we need to just write expression where we can do unit price into quantity, right? But my question was like, do I have to create a column for it or measure for it? Okay, column, measure, column. Okay, so it's mixed. Okay, so let's create the column first. Okay. Total sales equals to unit price into quantity. Here we got our column total sales, right? Now we can use this column for visualization purpose. Okay. Now, for example, if I want to visualize the data for this, so what I can do, I can just pull this column total sales directly here. When I pull this column in visualizations are also having the aggregations, right? So for example, if I click here, so you can see right now what is the aggregation for this visual, for this calculation is sum, right? If this sum has been automatically applied to this column here, but in case if you do not want to use this value directly, you want to use this value for your further calculations, then what you have to do, you have to first create a measure. Okay, and it is always recommended that create the measures even it is a small value, like it is directly a sum of any specific column or it's a complex calculation, right? Why? Because measures are not going to increase the size of your data model, and they don't put any negative, any performance impact on your data model, on your derefresh issue, right? So you are free to create measures as much as you want, but it doesn't mean like unnecessarily you start creating. So first create the measure for to show this total sales. In this measure, we'll simply do a total sales brackets. I'm just writing M just to identify like whether it's measure or what. And then here, what you are going to do, you are just going to sum off the new column which we created right now, total sales. Now, when I visualize this information here, add total sales, you will see the same output, but this time on measures, you see that no aggregation is applied. Means on column visualization also applies the aggregation, but on measures, there is no aggregation from the visualization side, because in measures, you have automatically aggregated the data. You have already did the summation of this total sales column. Now you have this total sales value in this measure. Now this measure you can use in further calculation also. Okay, let's say if you want to create any expression like you want to create something like where the value of this measure should not be changed. Okay, or you want to calculate the value of for this current month sales for like QTD. Okay, so all these values if you want to calculate, then what you can do, you can reuse this measure. So that's why it's always recommended that for any kind of mathematical calculation you want, for any kind of whether it's a simple calculation, it's a complex calculation, always prefer to write a measure for it. I see one question here, before some function, what is the sign use this? Okay, so this is nothing. This is your measure or function name. This is your measure or column name, right? So this is just simply is equal to, it means in this value, this is an assignment operator basically. Equals to is assignment operator. It means what it is doing, you are just calculating the sum of total sales here. Okay, and after that, the return, the output of this expression has been assigned into this measure. While like in Excel, what you do, you simply write this expression, only that part. Okay, why? Because that output will be automatically returned, will be automatically passed to a specific cell or a specific column, right? So that Excel handles implicit. But here what it does, what you have to do, you have to store the value of this calculation somewhere in measure or in column or maybe in table also. Got it? Next, can you show how to reuse a measure? Yeah, that I'll come to that point. Don't worry. Okay. Yes. So we were where we were. Yeah. So when it is it is recommended like always create the measures, even it is a small calculation or it's a lengthy calculation. So when you will start creating the measures, then you will be having lots of measures in your data model, in your tables. Okay. So that would be a challenge for you, how to identify, how to manage those measures. Right? Let's say you are working on a complex data. Some of the data you have like purchase data in the same table. Some is like you have payments data. Some data you are having, let's say, for the different departments or business units data. So now it would be difficult for you, because even if you try to manage the names, the proper names for the measures, right? We have to take care of the proper naming conventions. But still it would be confusing for you, because let's say in this table, in orders table, I just have created only 2 measures. Let's say if I create like 10 to 15 measures in this table, and I have like 15 tables, 20 tables like this, and each table is having like 10 to 15 measures, then around like 150 measures I will be having, 150 small calculations. So it would be difficult for me to manage them. So what I can do, based on the nature or based on the purpose of these measures, what I can do, I can separate them. Okay, so right now how we can identify that which is measure? So before the measure name, you can see there is a calculator icon, right? So it means this calculator icon represents that this is a measure. Okay, and this small table you can see, right? This table basically tells us that this is a calculated column. Okay, so how you want to how we can create a separate table for the measures? Okay, we can move the measures from its home table. So which is the home table for these measures? Orders, right? Now I want to move these measures from this home table to another table. Okay, so that we can have the separation of measures. Let's say if I have some like key measures. I have some time measures, some time intelligence measures. I have some like target measures where we are having the variances and all these. Like basically in any way you want to just do the separation of the measures so that properly you can manage them, you can organize them. So what you need to do first in order to move these measures in a separate measure table. Okay, so that table, what we call that table measure table. You see here the icon of these tables are right now a tabular icon, right? So what you want a separate table here, and the icon of that table should be same as the measure. It means like a calculator. So let's see it how we can do that. First we need to create a blank table here. How? Using the enter data feature. If you remember, we saw that there is an enter data, a static table here, right? So just create on it, click on it, and here don't do anything, don't change anything, just change the table name. Let's say these are my orders measure, right? Or you can give any name here. Let's say these are my key measures, and I click on load, right? Key measures, and now the icon of this table is same as like the other two tables. Now let's move your measures from orders table to key measures table. How? Select your measure, okay, and here you can see home table for this measure is orders. Just click on it and choose key measures, and this measure will move from orders table to key measures table. Okay, so now this measure has been moved inside the key measures table. In same way, let's move the another measure also. It's done. Now let's say we have moved all the measures in this key measures table. Now to change this icon so that we can identify by just looking on the icon that this is my measure table, and in this table we have only the measures. You have to hide this column, right? You can hide the columns also. So what you do is just right click on this column and you can hide it. This column has been hidden now. Now here, just focus here. Right now the table icon is still same as table icon. In order to change this icon, you have to do one thing, just show and hide this fields pane. You can see this, there is a filled pane, right? This is your fields pane. So just hide this pane, okay? Just click on this arrow button and again click on it to show it, okay? And your icon of this table will be automatically changed, okay? Let's state, click on this, hide, and again click on this to show. Here we go. Icon of this table has been changed. Right now easily you can recognize that this is your measure table, and in this table you have all the key measures, and which those are, you can see these are your measures. Okay, so this is a very small data model, but in some scenarios where you will work on like large data sets where you have multiple tables and multiple measures you will create, then definitely you will have to organize, you will have to arrange your measures like this. Okay, otherwise it would be difficult for you to search your measures, to identify your measures, like which measure you created for which purpose, for which table it relates. Okay, so in this way you can arrange your measures here, and you can identify like which is your table, which is your measure table. Any doubt, any question in this?
We have separated key measures into separate table. How can we know that which measure is referring to which table?
Which measure is referring to which table?
If there are
measures, measures is like measures. You don't need to. Okay, so I think you got confused. See, when you create the measures, let's say I created one measure in orders table, so it doesn't mean like it will have the data of one table only. One measure can have the values, one measure can have the columns of multiple tables also, right? So these are independent from the tables. In any table you can store them, you can hold them. Now let's say these measures are just a calculation. Okay, let's say one is your pending like remaining amount on your customers. Okay, or like something you can calculate like the total profit from any specific region. Such kind of values basically you have. These are just a calculations. Okay, so these you are just holding in separate tables, kind of folder you can say. Because if you want to look for, let's say, your time intelligence functions, right? So for example, this is your time intelligence functions and this is your total year to date sales, total YTD. And this value is not coming properly. So what you can do, you can just quickly go to that time intelligence functions and you can see all the measures you have, which is like populating, which is feeding the data into this measure, okay, into this visual. It's not mandatory. It's just a way, same as like in your folder, you have different type of files. Here you can see I have Excel and I have Word, right? So like I just want to separate the Excel file in a one folder in one table and Word files in another table, so that in case if I want to look for the Excel files, I want to make any change in my Excel file, so directly I will go in that folder instead of looking it here and there. That's it. This is the purpose only. It's just like a best practice, not mandatory. If you do not want in one table also, like in order table, you can create 100 measures. Even if let's say that measure is related to your let's say delivery or shipment, you can create those measures in orders table. These are independent to the table.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Okay, I can see one question here. I feel I'm confusing between column and measures. Can you please explain, taking simple example, what exact actually we mean by measure, purpose of measure, and how does it work? Support here. All right. So the one thing is, like, initially people got confused, like why measures are required and why columns are required. Okay. So now what we did here, we just calculate this total sales, right? And now for the timing, just think that this total sales will use in some other measure, okay, some other purpose. You see here this total sales. How you got this total sales value? First, you created a column. In this column, what you did, you just multiplied the value of unit price and quantity, right? So here what you did, in order to get the total sales value, what you did, you first created this column. When you created this column, it increased the size of your data model, obviously. Why? Because let's say if each column is like 2 KB, then when you created this column, it means you have added the additional 2 KB in your data model. Okay, just for an example. So measures are basically helpful when you do not want to increase the size of your tables, and it's a simple calculation, right? So on the fly, dynamically also you can calculate everything, okay, if it is a mathematical calculation. So now what I'm doing, without using this calculation, without using this column, we can achieve the same thing, right? It means within measure directly, we can perform this calculation also, right? When I just try to copy this, okay, and paste it into a measure, right, then I'll give an error. It will give me error. Why? This is my, let's say, total sales 2. It will give me an error, right? Just go to the total sales here. Yeah. So single value for column unit price in order table cannot be determined. Okay. So it means it is syntax error, right? So what you have to do here, you have to write a different function. You have to use a sumx function. Means sumx functions are all the functions in which you see x, right? These are the iterator functions. Okay. Means these functions will be iterated row by row. Okay, these functions will be iterated row by row, and in these functions you can pass some filters and some other conditions also. And this sumx function, if you notice here, this function will accept two parameters. One is table and the second is expression. Okay, you can see one is table and second is expression. It means first you have to pass a table, on which table you want to calculate the expression. So I want to calculate the expression on this orders table, then add comma. Now here you have to pass your expression. So what is my expression? I just want to calculate unit price into quantity. So here I can write unit price into quantity. Close the bracket, press enter. Now here you got your measure. Okay. Now when I visualize this data again here, okay, I got the same value. Without creating one column, the same calculation I written into this measure. It means here what I did, I don't need this total sales column now, because without creating a necessary column in my table, without increasing the size of my table, I can easily achieve the same thing. So I can delete it because it's not a good practice. So I deleted that, and that column was used in the two measures, in these two visuals. Okay, so that also I just delete. There is one measure because in this measure I was using that column, so I can delete this one also. So now here what basically I mean here, without creating that additional column, I achieved the same thing directly using the measures, right? So this is the power of measure. Like if it is a calculation, so on the fly, on dynamic time, right, you can calculate the values. You can easily achieve your values, right? So now here, if you see that measure is not appearing here, right? That means without increasing the size of the data model, we achieved our results. Okay, so this is the measure. Now let's say if you want something, well, I have a requirement like I want to visualize my sales on map. Okay, on the map. So what I'll do first, for this purpose, I'll have to create a column, right? I'll have to create a country and city column. Okay, the concatenation of these two columns. So here what I'll do, here I'll have to create the column, right? Calculate column, not the measure, because it's not a mathematical calculation now. It's just a concatenation. Okay, although I can achieve it using the measure also, but it's not recommended. Why? Because when you will concatenate this, so these are the string values. Okay, and it's like very simple. Like when you will calculate, when you will concatenate it on the fly, then it will take much time and it's not a good practice. Okay, so whenever you want to create such kind of things like which you want to see here in your column, okay, or maybe let's say if I want another column, okay, I have here, let's say there is one order date, right? So I have one table where I have the year and month. Okay, so what I want to link this table based on this order date with that date table. Okay, how? Let me show you. Here I'm going to create a new table. Okay, so just go here and click on this new table. And this is, for example, my date key table. Okay, table name is date key. And here I'm going to create a table using the calendar function. I'm going to define two dates here. Let's say 01-01 2010. This is the start date, and the end date I want here, let's say 31st December 2012. 2 years of data I want basically. Okay, 10, 11, 12, 3 years of data. So here I will get the date column in this date table. Here is my date key. So here I got this date. Now just change the data type of it. It's a date time. Change it to date. Now I can extract, let's say here, now what I want to see year and month here. Okay, so what I'll do, this I cannot achieve through a measure. Okay, this is a table, this is a just date here. If you want, you can change the date format. Just let me change date format. I want to see the one year column here and one month column, right? So obviously we cannot achieve it through the measure, because measure is just a calculation, but it's not a calculation. It's something like an extraction or something like a split of the year from this table, from this date column. So what I'll do here, I will create a column, because that value I want to see here into the tabular way, into the tabular format. So I create a new column and the column name is year. Here you can write year function and then pass your date column from the date key table. So it is very similar to the transform into the query editor, right? But this is through the DAX, that was through the query editor. You got this column here. Now you want another column also. This time I want month. Here you got your month number. Okay, now I want to link this date key table with orders table. Okay, based on what? Based on the concatenated value of month and year. So first what I have to do, I have to create a one more column here. Okay, so let's create a new column. Let's say this is my column name is year hyphen month. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to use year. Ampersand is basically we use to concatenate the values, then added hyphen here in double quotes, and then again I add ampersand. This is for concatenation operator. Okay, then we use the month here and press enter. Here we will get this column year month with the concatenation value of these two. Right now the same column I have to create in my orders table also. Same thing I want to create here also. So what I'll do, I will create the same using the order date. First, I will extract the year, month, and I will create a combination of these two columns. And after that, I will link my order table and the date key. Okay. So now you understood like why I'm creating these columns, because I want to establish the relationship between my date key table and orders table. Okay. Based on year and month. So here you can see like measure is not going to work. Why? Because we want to see that data in that table. We want to see that such kind of data in the tabular format. So then we have to create the column, not the measure. Measure is only specifically for visualization purpose when you want to visualize something. Here we are not visualizing, we are building the relationship, and in order to build the relationship we need the columns, not the measures. Okay, so is it a bit clear for you now? Once we will start like creating more and more functions like for measures and calculated columns, then it will be more clear for you. Okay, okay, got it, thanks. Okay, so here what we were doing, we were just extracting the same thing here. So let's continue. So here I want to create a new column for year and one column for month. So I'm just quickly creating these two columns. So now last time what we did, we just extracted the year using the year function, and inside the year we passed the date, right? But what you can do alternate way is like you can first write your date column here. Okay, so this is, let's say, my date column, right? Order date. And next, once you press the tab, then you will have options like what you want to extract from here, whether you want to extract the date, day, month, number, whatever you want, right? So for example, you want to get the day, year from this, so you can just go to here and press tab, press enter. Okay, so this is an alternate option of extracting the year from any date. Now let's create one more. And this is your concatenation of year and month. So now we have this kind of a column key, okay, a date key in both the tables. Now we can build the relationship between these two tables, right? So here I also have year, month, same data I have here, and in this column also I have the same. Okay, but if you notice that in this date key table inside this year and month, for one value, like for 2010 January, I have multiple records here, right? So when I'll try to create the relationship, then it will be a many-to-many relationship, because in any value we will not be having, in any table we will not be having the unique value in this column. So when I try to create it, it is asking me to create a many-to-many. Click OK, yes. Now you see a many-to-many relationship has been created between them. Okay, so why we required the columns here? Because we need these columns for like relationship is also part of your data modeling. Okay, so columns generally we create when we require it for data modeling, whether it like to extract data from any other table, to using the VLOOKUP function, or using the like relationships. Okay, then we need to create the columns whenever it's required for the data modeling. Okay, when you want to see that data in your table, and if you something is like you want to calculate on the fly, then you can use the measures. Okay, now so here you got this table, but in case if you want to create a like one-to-many relationship, because this might be useful somewhere, like you want to create a one-to-many only. So what you can do, from this table you can extract the unique or distinct of year and month. Okay, it means you can create another table, right? And in that table what you will be having, you will be having only distinct of year and month. Okay, so if you want, let me just show you that also quickly. So I'm just going to create a one more table, new table, distinct year month, and here I'm going to write distinct function and just pass your year and month from the date key table, right? Press enter. Now in this table, distinct year month, it's a spelling mistake, let me just correct that. Okay, so in this table now, for one value, I have the one record only. So now I can build the one-to-many relationship. Okay, so let's remove this relationship and let's connect this table with this one. Okay, so now you have the one-to-many relationship between them. Now this field you can use as a filter. Okay, once you will filter anything here, then the data will be filtered in your orders table. Okay, let's see that. So here I'm going to add a filter, and in this filter I add year month from this distinct year month table, right? And here I want to visualize some information like, let's say, profit by segment. So here profit by segment, I'm going to add total profit and segment. Okay, this is from the orders table. Now when I select any value in this year and month, so you see the data is also filtered in this table. Why it is not showing any data to me? Because in this table I have, in this distinct year month date table, I have the data of 2010 to 2012, right? While in the orders table, if I look in the orders table, I have the data of 2012 to 2015. So that's why it is not showing any data to me. So let me just select just change the value here in the date table. So we are getting it from 2012 to 2015. Now here you will see your values in this filter will be automatically changed. Why? Because this table is a kind of a referenced table of date key table. Okay, so whatever you will change in terms of data in this date key, that will be automatically applied to this also. So now when I select any value here, you see data is filtering in the visual in this total profit by segment. All right, so this is the use of like a calculated column and calculated tables. So in order to achieve something like this, where you want to visualize something, if you for your filter purpose you need some columns, okay, so then you can use your calculate tables and calculate columns. And measures, where you will use measures, you will use only where you want to do a calculation. Okay, all right, so till now what we did, we have created one total sales measure, right? You can see this total sales measure. Now you want to reuse this measure for any calculation. Okay, so if you notice here, when I select, let me just increase the size of this filter, it's not visible clearly, much better. So now when I select Feb 2013, so you see here the total sales was in this month, Feb 2013, was 479.45k. Okay, and this is the separation of this total profit by segment here. Instead of profit, let me just add the same value, add the total sales here, remove the profit. Okay, so this is the bifurcation of this 479 in different segments. Okay, now what is your requirement? You want something like, when you are selecting any value here in this filter, the original value is changing. You see this original, what is the total sales? 61.82 million. So when you select any value, this has been filtered. Okay, so what is your ask? That you want one more value here, the same like this. Okay, and when you select this one is filtered, but this should not be filtered. This one should show 61.82 million. Okay, so regardless to the filter, this should be the same value, total sales, so that you can see the comparison, like what was the initial and now what is for this month. Okay, right, so this is a very common requirement, right? Every report, in every visualization, you may require this. So what you will use here, what you will do here now, you will reuse this measure. Okay, so right now this measure is having the reference with the filter. Whatever you will filter, this measure value will be filtered. Now you want one more measure where the value of this, the total sales, should not be changed. So what you will do, you will reuse this measure now. So all of you got the point what I want? All right, so now to get that, what we'll use, we will use the all function. Okay, which function? All function. So all function basically returns all the row in a table regardless to the filter. Okay, when I will select any value here, then on all function there will not be any impact of the filters. Okay, so it ignores any filters that might have been applied on your table. This function is like useful for clearing the filters and like creating the calculations on all the row in a table. Okay, so now let's see how you can do that. and this all function will return, it can return one column also and one table also, okay, after removing the filters. All right, now let's use the all function. I'm going to create one more measure. Measures you can create by just right click here on the tables also. This is your all sales measure, and here what you want to use all, okay. In this all function, what you have to pass, you have to define one table, right? Or you may use any column also, or maybe more than one column also. So now we are going to use the measure here. Just checking whether the measure is not passed. I think this column. So where is my column? Let's say total profit. Let me just do that. Okay, so this, although I just changed the measure name, let me just change the measure name. This is not all sales, all profit. I'll come to the sales also. All right, so you can see that when I select any value here, right, this is my total profit, right, which is coming from the measure, okay. And in this measure, when I select any value, you see that this is filtering and this one is not filtering. This is the original, okay, without any filter. So it removes all the filters. So this is one way, like in on column also you can directly apply this value. Where is that? Sales profit to column, all profit. So what we did on the column, directly we use this all function. So what it did, it just removed the filters which applied onto the table level, okay. In order to use this with the sales column, let me just use the different scenario, different example here, okay. So this is my total sales, okay. So now what I want to calculate total YTD sales, okay. So this is my total sales. It means this is for all the years, let's say 5 years sales. Now what I want to reuse this measure to calculate for the current year sales, for YTD sales only. So what I'll do, I'll have to create one more measure here. Create a new measure. This is my YTD sales. Now here first, I will have to use the function total YTD, right? So total YTD. In this function, you will have to write an expression, right? So this expression you can write here from scratch, or you can reuse any measure also. So existing measures I have already, total sales 2. So I can reuse that measure here. Once I use it, you can see this measure is coming here, okay? So that all function is not accepting the measure actually directly, okay? So that's why. So in this, you see total sales 2. Here I reuse this measure. Now here I have to provide a date filter. So my date filter should be the date key table. And now you can press enter. Now your total YTD sales you can see here. If I just add it onto the card, it is showing the same results. Why? Because there is not any relationship right now between these two tables, between this date key table and orders table. So first we have to create the relationship, because if you want to work with these functions, time intelligence functions, then relationship should be exist. Otherwise you won't be able, like your measures will not be able to communicate. It means this table is not having any relationship with this date key table. So we have to create a relationship. That relationship I'm going to create based on the order date column, okay, because I want the one-to-many relationship. So I created a relationship one-to-many. Now let's go back here and you can see total YTD sale is showing you 20.99 million and your total sales is 61.82. This is your YTD only, okay. So now this measure, which is this is the YTD sales measure. It means in this measure we reused total sales 2 measure, and now if you want YTD sales also, you can reuse this also, okay. So this is the beauty of measures, like you can reuse one measures multiple times. So it's because it's just a calculation, okay. So inside this measure what is happening, this measure is being used, it means it's calculated on the fly and it's used as a reference here to calculate the YTD sales value. So in same way, you can calculate, you can create multiple expressions. There is no limit. You can create any number of measures and you can reuse one measure in multiple times. Okay. So it should be like little bit clear, like what is difference between measures, columns, benefits of columns, where to create the columns, why to create the measures, what we can achieve through the measures. Okay. Measures we cannot use for relationships. Why? Because these are not the part of table. Relationship can be created only on the columns because columns are part of the table. I would like to know the facts, like to know the difference between dimension act and fact tables. Okay. All right. So here you have, let's say, two tables. The one is your customer. Okay. And here is your customer invoices. Customer table is having the customer ID column and customer name, right? Or it may be having some more columns. And this table is having first invoice ID, cust ID, and invoice amount, right? Only these three columns. Here what you have something like this. Customer ID is the primary key, so that should have the unique values, and the customer name is, let's say, these are the customer names you have here. Fine. Now you have the invoice IDs here, like let's say I01, I02. Okay, this one invoice can have the same records, like multiple lines of the same invoice ID. Now this invoice is for customer ID 1 for 1, and this is for customer ID 3, and this is for customer ID 4, and this is for customer ID 5. All right. So now you have these two tables, customer and customer invoices. Fine. In this table, what you have the values. On the basis of these values, you can evaluate, you can analyze your data, right? Like for what is the total invoice amount for customer ID 1, right? So this is the total amount. For customer ID 2, what is? Nothing. For customer ID 3, sum of these two. For customer ID 6, nothing. For customer ID 5, 20. Okay, so what you are doing here, you are just identifying, you are just calculating your values based on the customer ID. Now let's say you have here one more column, let's say country. This is your India and this is, let's say, your US. Now based on the customer ID, you have evaluated your values, right? Let's say for customer ID 1, what you have? For customer ID 1, you have, let's say, 64 here. For customer ID 2, you do not have anything. Customer ID 2 is 0. Customer ID 3, you have again 87. And customer ID 4, you have again 40. For customer ID 5, you have 20. And for customer 6, you have 0. Okay, so this basically, this dimension and facts are the data warehousing terms. So I'm just trying to explain to you here. So you visualize, you analyze some data based on the customer ID, right? This is what? This is cust ID and this is your invoice amount. So one thing you have analyzed, okay? One information you got it here. Now, based on the country, you want to see invoice amount, okay? Based on the country, you want to see the invoice amount. So let's say for India, what is the invoice amount? You can see here this customer ID 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. This is 151. For USA, how much you have? These three countries are USA, and corresponding to these countries, we have three customers. What is the invoice amount for these three customers? You can see only this 60, right? So you got one more view of your data. What is this? This is the one more view of your data. In the same way, you may have some more information here. Let's say you have here customer type, right? So this is something like, this is your premium customer, this is your normal customer, regular customers, like this. Okay, based on that also you can identify, like based on the customer types, what is the invoice amounts. So here what you are doing basically, you are evaluating only one value, right? And which is this value? This is your fact, right? Because we are talking about the facts. Facts are the values. So in this value, in this table, you have this fact. Okay, this table may also have like quantity also. So quantity would be the another fact, another value. This is quantity, right? Right. So this is quantity. This is another fact. So it means what you are doing, you are analyzing the facts. Okay, based on what? Based on these values, based on these columns. And what are these? These are the dimensions. Either you can analyze this fact based on customer ID dimension, or you can see the invoice amount based on the country account, country column also. Okay, so these are what? These are the dimensions. Like based on different dimensions, you can see your facts. Okay, like in from your like table, you have like one table and like 5 dimensions. Like one dimension is, this is just one. So what is this? This is a dimension table, dim. In short, you can say dim table. And this is what? This is your fact table, because in fact table you have the facts. These are your facts. Okay, and in this table you have the dimensions. Using these dimensions you can view your data from different views. Okay, from different angle you can analyze the facts, you can analyze your values. Does it answer now? Do you understood that? Basically, one dimension table will always contain natural keys, like your surrogate keys, primary keys columns. Okay, and in the fact table, you will always have the like measurement values or some like aggregated values. Okay, and based on those keys, based on those dimension columns, you will always analyze your values. All right. Okay. Thanks. Is fact table can be used as dimension table to another fact table? Yes, that is possible. Okay, that is possible in multi-dimensional model. See, in data warehousing, there are two type of, they are like different. Before building the data, what is data warehouse? Data warehouse is nothing but it's just a combination of your fact and dimension tables. Okay, and here you can build your data warehouse like in different schemas. Like either it could be having your like you can build a data model using the star schema, okay, and snowflake schema, and some other schemas, but these are two famous. The commonly used, we used only two schemas, snowflake schema. In star schema, what we do, we just keep one fact, right? This is my fact, and around this fact we will be having the dimensions. This is, let's say, your customer. This is, let's say, your item table. This is your, let's say, for example, your region table, and this is your salesperson tables, right? In this table only you have the facts, and these are the different master tables, you can say. Okay, master tables, and this is your transactional table. So this is what? This is kind of a star. It means in a star schema, you will always have a one fact and multiple dimensions. Okay, this is what? A star schema. When you want to work, this is the most simpler one, and people used to use this one because it is very easy and very simple and less maintenance. In some complex situations, we can use the snowflake schema also. What is a snowflake? Let's see. I have a snowflake is like combination of multiple star schemas. So I have this star schema, right? Now let's say I have one more fact here. Okay, and in snowflake schema, basically we can have the combination of multiple facts. In star schema, we will always have a one fact, but in snowflake schema, we can have multiple facts, and one fact can be treated as a dimensional for another fact. Now this fact, right, this fact is treated for this fact as a dimension. Okay, so this fact will be having the relationship with this one, right, as a dimension. So this fact will be treated as dimension for this fact, and this fact is having some other dimensions, right? So let's say this is having some other dimensions. Okay, but for this fact, this will be treated as a dimension also. So when you will create the relationships, because in data warehouse also we create relationships. So when you will go for creating the relationships, let me just okay, now when you will create the relationship, so this fact will be linked this fact will be linked with this fact as a dimension. Okay, and these are linked with one to many or many to one with these relationships like this. Okay, so this fact is linked with this one. So what is this? This is, it means having multiple star schemas, and one fact can be used as a dimension for another fact. So this is a snowflake, a complex one, and this is the star schema, which is simple. Like in this star schema, always we will be having one fact table, and surround that one fact we may have like multiple dimension tables, like multiple master tables. Got that? Although it's like moreover related to the data warehousing technologies, all right, but it's good to understand. Actually, there's no harm to learn about basic concepts of the data warehouse also. Okay, data warehouse is nothing but just like the management of your data, how you manage, how you handle your data from the multiple data sources. That's it. Okay, all right. Okay, I can see one, which is better way for data modeling between query editor and DAX. Okay, see, it depends on you. There is nothing good or nothing bad in this, right? Because many people who don't feel comfortable with DAX, they want to do the basic data modeling only, then they prefer it to use through the query editor. Why? Because that is just like a click things only. You just need to right click and achieve the result. That's it. And there is like very less chance for the manual mistakes. In case of when you are extracting the DAX, and if by mistake you reference the another column instead of the date, you reference like order date, you reference the ship date. So everything, all the reports, everything will be wrong. Okay. So that is the point, like it's up to you. Query editor is having the limited functionality. You cannot do advanced level of data modeling. Let's say you want to write a, you want to create a conditional column, but during creating that conditional column, you do not have the flexibility to filter out the data based on any other condition. Okay. So someone from you also asked that question to me, right? When I was creating the conditional column, that can we write some condition, a further condition, or based on like multiple conditions, can we create this if condition column? Okay, so there we do not have, we are restricted to the UI functionality only, but here we have the flexibility, any kind of expression, any kind of functions you can use, and whatever you want, you can achieve that. Okay, so query editor, let's say, is having 15 ways, 15 things to build your data model. Through DAX, you have, let's say, 100 things, different functions in different ways you can build your data model. It's up to you. Generally, people prefer to use the query editor, like such kind of like the business users, or like those who do not have the much exposure to Excel or not comfortable with DAX, with writing the DAX queries. Okay, and their requirement is like very minimum, just basic column additions and data filtration, new columns are required only. But in case like you want something more advanced, then you have to move on to the DAX only. Query editor DAX, query editor data transformation is not giving you much capabilities or flexibilities to achieve your output. Okay, right. So is there any other doubt, any question? Okay, I can see linking between two tables based on unique values. Okay, I think you answered about the fact name. No, that is just one use of it. Okay, but the actual use is different. So basically, fact table will always have the IDs. It should not have the redundant data, right? Like it should not be like invoice ID you have, customer ID you have, and let's bring the customer name also here in this table. No, if you are doing it, it means you are violating the concept of data warehousing, concept of fact table. Fact table should not have the redundant data. If you have the customer name here, it means this is redundant data. Why? Because customer ID and customer name also you can get from this table. Okay, so it is always to eliminate the redundant data. All right. Okay, so here we just covered very basic things about the DAX. Okay. All right, guys. So that's all from my side for today.